This is Joseph Darling from the Girls of High Value channel. Today we're going to talk about how you can choose to run at your full capacity with femininity. The definitions for masculinity and femininity when it comes to women is that masculine women are burdened and feminine women are unburdened. You can see it in this way. When you start out, when you grow up in this world, hopefully you were born to two parents who loved you, who cared for you, who provided for you, protected you, and did everything that was right, okay? Now, in the beginning, girls are feminine. There's no such thing as a 5-year-old tomboy. It doesn't exist. It's because all girls start out feminine. Most of the time, 95% of the time or more, feminine girls end up being allowed to continue in their femininity. The point I'm trying to make is that women are feminine by nature, and they become more feminine through their puberty, not more masculine. They don't become masculine. They retain their femininity, their fertility, and their beauty if they are unburdened, which means that they have parents who continuously and consistently, even after they hit puberty, the parents are there protecting, providing, and making sure that their daughter is loved, accepted, and that she doesn't have too much of a load on her shoulders. The more load, the more difficult her teenage years are, the harder it is to grow up as a girl, the more masculine that girl is going to be. Again, the point I'm making is that in order for you as a woman to work at your full capacity, you have to be unburdened. You cannot run at your full capacity and be burdened and be masculine. It's literally physically impossible. When a woman is masculine, it means that she has no capacity. This is what's so intriguing with the world we're living in today. Even though women have the choice of choosing between burden or unburden, they seem to always choose burden first. Now, unfortunately, this is because of parents very often. They teach their kids to go to school, and then when they come to school, they end up being in the presence of 80% of women who are government employees very often, who teach girls and boys to further their education, to get as much education, academic education as possible, and to get a job. The only reason why we're in school, people, is to get a job. It's an old school paradigm. This is the only reason why school was put in place in the beginning. Like, it's preparing us to get jobs. And that's ridiculous. Especially if you understand that, the concept of masculinity is burden and femininity is being unburdened. You might ask me, well, there's been no women in history that have been unburdened. What are you talking about? They have been oppressed by the patriarchy. They were told to be at home. They were told to have lots of kids. They were told to basically die in childbirth and try their best to raise kids, a lot of kids, and work on the farm. Women have been burdened for ages. And because of that, humanity has not progressed as fast as it could have. Literally. And a lot of joy and happiness and pleasure has been almost kept away from women that could have been theirs if we had known what we know today. But obviously, it's the 2020 vision of hindsight. It doesn't work, right? It is what it is, but we can create a more beautiful and a more amazing future. The way we do that is to unburden women. In terms of schooling now, it's a burden that parents put upon their child, their daughter, since this is Girls of High Value channel, and then those girls have now the expectations of teachers, expectations of their parents, that they need to get good grades. And because girls actually care, they're actually going to do their best until they don't have capacity. And then they're going to feel so sad that they didn't reach up to their full potential and of what other people expected of them. However, was it even correct that they were supposed to be in school in the first place? That's the question. Why are they in school? It's a burden. And that burden is just going to lead to other burdens. That's going to lead to more burdens. It's not going to alleviate burdens. The best way to make sure a woman is unburdened, feminine, is to allow her to remain in the same state when she was being provided for and protected by her parents. This was the best and funnest time of her life. This was the time when she was able to do whatever she felt like doing, when she felt like doing, except for school and except for homework, and then some of the chores in the home. But if she had been allowed to do the things that she wanted to do, she would have been running at her full capacity. When a woman is rejected, it's a burden, and then she has to now overcome this rejection until she is accepted. A woman cannot stand being rejected. It zaps her of energy. And if it zaps her of energy, then guess what? It's gonna demotivate her. And if a woman is demotivated, she cannot run at her full capacity. The more masculine you are, the more rejection you're going to face. The more rejection you're going to face, the less accepted you are, meaning the more zapped of energy you're going to be. And guess what? What you're gonna do is you're gonna try and get your energy and motivation up by using stimulants. Because you're wondering, why don't I feel anything? I feel dead inside. And so you turn to stimulants, you turn to alcohol, you turn to drugs. This is not necessarily the bad drugs that is being sold on the black market, but it could actually be happy pills or other kind of pills because you believe you need them. It's only because you don't feel anything, but the only reason why you don't feel anything is because you're masculine and you're not being feminine. Another aspect is like making exercise their obsession or health their obsession and being so massively disciplined about it that it becomes a burden, which means that you're becoming more masculine, not less masculine. The oldest women in the world, you will come to notice, they're not masculine. They're not burdened. The only thing that burdens an old lady, and I'm talking about women that are 100 years old, 110 years old, only thing that burdens them is perhaps their health. Women die faster when they're masculine. They weren't designed to be masculine, and this is why they're dying as flies from heart disease, from diabetes, from cancer, from all those things that are basically going inside their body, and their nutrition is not being sent out to all their cells because your cells are dying. Like, masculine women's cells are dying faster than feminine women's. How can you operate at your full capacity? The best way to operate at your full capacity is to operate in a place, in a bubble, in a cocoon where you are continuously accepted. Now, is it too idealistic? Is it realistic? Is it like, does it work? Is it possible? Well, let's think about this. If you want that, if you truly desire it, it is possible. But it's going to require quite a lot of changes, but it's mostly just mental changes. What needs to happen is for you as a masculine woman to let go of burdens. You have to trust. This is where it's hard. And especially in today and age when men are less and less trustworthy than ever. This is why we've got the Men of High Value channel where we're creating trustworthy men. The best thing you can do to unburden yourself is to stay at home with your parents for as long as possible. The reason why this is beneficial for you is because your father and your mother, if they've got the financial means to do so, will more than love to protect you and provide for you for a long period of time until you find the right guy who is willing to take you over to protect you and to provide for you for the rest of your life. This is the best, true, tried and tested method for a woman to be feminine for the rest of her life. Now, obviously, if you'd have 10 kids together with this guy immediately upon you getting married and committed to him long term, that's going to create a lot of burdens, okay? So it's not about alleviating yourself of responsibility and leadership and burden from the workplace and then getting married and then having tons of burden after that. I'm not saying that you should not have kids at all, but what I'm saying is that you should be wise about it. Birth control and family planning is a great thing. Use it. How can a woman work at her full capacity? Is simply this: embrace and obsess about femininity. This is what turns men on, and what you want is for the right guy that you are in love with to be turned on by you. If he is turned on by you and you fulfill his needs and desires because he fulfills yours, and everything works in that relationship, and it's a dynamic, amazing family that creates a beautiful next generation, guess what? You're allowed to work at your full capacity because you've got a true higher purpose than yourself. Very often, independent women, unfortunately, think about themselves too much. They forget that it's all about serving others. It's all about increasing your capacity to serving others. But the masculine woman is out there in the world, in the workplace, trying to serve people at a low capacity. And if you run at a low capacity, you'll never truly fulfill your potential. My job on the Girls of High Value channel is to help you to fulfill your true potential and to run at your full capacity. There is so much that you can gain from embracing and obsessing about femininity, and that's what this channel is about. My name is Joseph Darling. It's the Girls of High Value channel. I'll see you in the next video.